I have picked myself up 2 more Honda CBR 125s. This red one is in pretty good shape. There's not a lot of damage to it. I've already got the engine started, so it fires right up on the button. So that's nice. There's a bit of a blow on that exhaust, so I'll have to look at that later on. But overall, this is quite a nice bike. It's mostly just really dirty, so you can see there's a lot of dirt on the engine and around the bike, so it needs a really good wash. Otherwise, it's not too bad. So it needs pretty much a good wash and a good service. So, for example, the rear brake pads down here are pretty good. They're okay. There's meat on them, but I need to remove this caliper, clean it up, and just, you know, give it a good clean up, basically a service on that rear caliper. It needs a chain and sprockets, so I'll change those a bit later on. The indicator here is bent, but probably can be fixed. Otherwise, on this side it's pretty good. The pegs are there. Nice standard bike, actually. A lot of OEM parts. Up at the front here, I need to change out this clutch mirror mount and the clutch lever, but that's partly why I've got this bike, because this one has got a lot of parts I can use. So the front master cylinder and lever I'll pinch, and the brake lever on this side, we've got the mirror mount not broken. Lock set is good, so that's a spare I can use elsewhere. So I'll be able to just nick a few bits off this one as I go. This is actually an okay bike, the engine works, but it's just missing parts. I used some parts off this for another project before, so it's just missing a few bits. So I'm going to clean this bike up first of all, get my jet wash involved, and then just go through, repaint a few bits, and just tidy it up and prepare it for resale. So should be a nice quick video, this one, so watch to the end and we'll see how this bike turns out. This radiator has got a lot of flaking paint, so I'm going to do myself a really quick and dirty paint job on it, and I've masked off very loosely, and I'm just going to go for it. It's just to kind of take the edge off things. When somebody looks at the bike to buy it, it just doesn't look, you know, as bad. So this is not obviously a professional job, but it'll do for right now. Okay, so that looks a lot better. I've stuck this side panel on and it looks okay. I've got a bit of work to do on the structural side of things, but it's back on. It's starting to look good. The exhaust is blowing at the front, so I'm going to whip it off and see what is going on. This bracket is bent, so it must have had some sort of impact, so that's not holding anything the way it should. Secondly, this is just rusted all the way through, so this exhaust has seen its day. I do have this spare exhaust in my stock, which is pretty nice. I think it's a stainless steel item all the way through, and this back part here kind of bolts on to these three, with these 3 fixing points. So I'll put this onto the bike and see how it looks. The bolts are now tight, but the bracket is really loose, and there's just too much clearance between these nuts and the bracket there. So what I've got is these washers, or call them shims, and I'm going to put these up in behind the nuts and just space things out a bit so that the exhaust presses up. So the exhaust is now on. It looks pretty good, so let's give it a start and see how it sounds. Sounds sick. That sounds very cool. So that is on the borderline of being legal, I think. It says BSAU, so maybe it's made in Australia. What does it say? I can't see a decibel reading on there. So that's pretty good. The exhaust is on, and now I need to press on with other cosmetic bits. The next little job is just this clutch master cylinder or clutch lever. So I'm just going to swap this out with the other bike. I need to change out these indicators, which are broken at the front. So to do that, I just go in behind there with my spanner, turn that guy and remove the cables, and then fit the new indicators. I found this indicator on the other bike and I want to use it because it matches the OEM ones that are on the rear of this bike, and I kind of like putting stuff back to OEM. So if I put this one on the front, then I just have to find one more, which I can probably find on eBay or somewhere. So I'm going to put that in there and it should look pretty good. Things are definitely looking good for this bike, but for this one it's the end of the road. There's just too many parts missing and it's not really worth much anyway. So I'm going to strip this one down, use the parts for other bikes. So it's got a good rear tyre which I can use elsewhere. The chain and sprockets are actually quite good, so I'm going to put them on that one to save myself a few bucks. This hanger I'll sell. That's about 30 quid on eBay. Scrap metal, that piece. Forks are good, so I'll use them on another build. Front wheel and tyre are good. There's a working key there and also a lock set for the rear, so I can use those. Wiring loom I'll probably just put in the scrap. Front brakes good, so there's quite a few parts here, but it's not worth me rebuilding this bike. I get so many of these bikes come my way that it's just useful to have spare parts. But I would, there is a frame and logbook here if anyone needs one. So this is the end of the road for this bike. I won't show the strip down process, but generally what I'm looking for is, sounds crazy, but if you think I think I paid £300 for this bike. I've taken the full front end for another bike that I rebuilt, then I've taken the exhaust for this one I think, or another one. I've taken loads and loads of parts off. I've still got an engine there that's worth probably 300 quid, so my money's there, right? So to get some money back, I literally just sell these kind of things as scrap aluminium. It's like £1 per kilo, and if you do lots and lots of bikes it adds up quite a lot. So I kind of just take my angle grinder, cut the steel off, and then I've got the aluminium to sell as scrap metal. I'll sell a few more parts like the carburetor I'll sell on eBay, and then these handlebars are bent, so I will just throw them in the trash. Again, they can go as scrap steel. A bit more scrap aluminium there. So yeah, that's the end of the road. So I'm going to pull this guy apart and then I'll crack on and just finish this one. So that has been a quick and dirty rebuild for this Honda CBR 125. It's turned out quite well. The gamble I took when I bought it was that it had low mileage and it was quite clean, and it's turned out well. So nothing difficult about it. I really like this model. I had one of these when I was at university for about a year, and it's super fun because this has got the smaller dimensions of the early bikes, but it's got the fuel injection system and much more reliable and a smoother engine than the early carburetted bikes. But it's not a big heavy bike like the more recent ones. So 2011 to 2017 the dimensions were bigger, it was just a bit fatter and lazier, but this is like a lean mean machine. If you're 17, and that was rhyming, these are great bikes, honestly. If you want to get a kind of a fast sporty 125, these are highly recommended. So by the way, this is for sale, so quick plug there. If you're interested, get in touch. So I'm going to wrap this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again on another one very soon. Hit like and subscribe. See you later.